Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Omotola Yemi, and I'm the founder of Elegance Media. If you're just coming across our video for the first time, um, so this is Elegance Media is actually a digital marketing agency that help organization, individuals to leverage the digital landscape. And we use different techniques and we have different expertise on our team. Our vision is to redefine how the digital online space work by providing strategic solutions that can help businesses and organizations. And we don't just provide these services to our clients, we also like empower people. That's our own way of doing our social impact stuff. So we also empower people to have the skills that we give our clients. So in our community, which I'm going to be talking about later, we have different initiatives. And the ongoing one is the Elegance Visibility Sprint. And the Elegance Media Visibility Sprint is actually focused on people who have skills, who have the impact, who are already making the impact, creators, professionals, entrepreneurs who are already doing things. We want to, through this program, through these initiatives, help them to show up, to stand out, and to scale their ideas in public. So it is not enough for you to build just within your team alone. You have to like share openly, be consistent about it, because that action actually help you to accelerate your growth. So, in order for us, as we continue on this journey, um, set it, we have set out to spotlight some persons who have actually worked this work. I used to put it that way. Who have actually worked this work, people who have shared their progress, who are actually very intentional about not just building, but building in public. And also, these persons have actually grown their career. So I'm not going to be doing the talking. So for today, we have Richard. Let me bring Richard. Hi, Richard. How are you doing?
I
Thank you so much for joining. Okay. So we have Richard here. I'm just going to do a brief intro of Richard. I actually know Richard through one of through a paid internship opportunity. But I'm going to be asking Richard some questions, and trust me, Richard has actually worked the work. When I mentioned that, I know Richard as a student who is also a professional cloud native technology and observability engineer. Richard has background in computer engineering and he has experience in distributed system, open telemetry, and he has contributed to a lot of organizations, open source projects, and so on and so forth. Richard is very passionate about building reliable, scalable, and observable systems. Okay, and also contributing to open source community and mentoring next generations of engineers. Um, Richard has shared insights on cloud native technology and observability, and is aiming to bridge the gap between developers and the tools that they use to enhance system reliability. Hmm. The most interesting part, or one of the most interesting parts that I really like about Richard, is the fact that he's currently the founder of, correct me if I didn't pronounce this well, City, City.
Setsy.
Okay, which is actually an early career growth agency focused on helping young individuals and professionals to build relevant career paths, especially equipping them with the tools that they need to compete in global spaces and collaborate in global technology ecosystem. So you will agree with me that Richard has actually walked the walk. So today, Richard is going to be answering some questions and giving us insights into how he is actually comfortable how he does that building in public kind of thing. Hi Richard, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
I
Maybe
Motala. Thanks
do
for
you
the
want to
introduction.
like introduce yourself in your own way? Because I've read a lot.
Mm,
Do you have like a
okay.
simple way of doing it?
All right. Sure. Yeah. So hello everybody. My name is Richard Chukwu, as a full name, and I'm a simple guy. I'm just a young guy who loves to dream big, actually. So yeah, I like putting this out there every time I'm speaking. I'm 24. I'll be 25 by June, so actually very young. And I would say all that I've done so far is actually by the grace of God, but there is also hard work. There's a lot of hard work that has been put into a lot of things that are happening. I think as time goes on, you will hear me share some stories, but that's just me basically.
I love the way you put it. And trust me, you actually mentioned some keywords that I used to like use anytime I'm speaking to people or anytime I have the chance to host sessions like this. You
Yeah.
can, you mentioned that you love to dream big. I tell
Mm,
people who work with me, people who I mentor or I talk to, that dream big, don't be afraid.
yeah.
I think one of the limitations that people face in their career is to limit their mindset. I
Mhm.
always have this quote that as far as you can see, you can achieve it. So dreaming
Yeah.
big is actually a very good skill. And also to add that you can do big things even from like a very little place. So you mentioned that you're just 24. Do you like age is nothing but just a number. And you
Sure.
see people who are even older than you that trust me, they have not done anything valuable.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. I think this is getting interesting. So I want to know more about your background and just like give us like an insight into what your background looks like and what
Okay.
inspired you to be sharing your journey online publicly.
All right. Where do I start from? Okay, let me start from how it all began. So, I grew up in a family. I like starting with that line. I grew up in a family where, right from an early stage, from my both parents are actually big dreamers. My mom is someone who kind of like she shuffles both at 9 to 5 with various. She has various skills. She started building a business even while we were very young and doing a 9 to 5. I remember how that a lot of times she would go to work, come back at night, do her business, take the things out and sell in school because she's a teacher. She works in school. So, and my dad too was a businessman. I don't know, maybe it's because we are Igbo. It runs in the blood. So he has been. He's that businessman that showed me right from a very young age that it's there is more to life than actually just working for somebody and earning a salary. So I had that ecosystem around me that every single person around, and I'm the last born out of 4 children. My siblings also followed the same path. In fact, the one person that inspired me to go into tech basically was my elder brother. So he studied computer science in school. I studied computer engineering. So while we finished in computer science, we went to the same university actually. So I could remember then, that was 2016, 2017. I was just rounding off my secondary education, getting into the university. And prior to that time, I've always been in the spotlight in terms of leadership positions and all that from a very, very early stage. I've been president of several clubs, had several positions. In fact, while I was in primary school, I was I was the head boy, then in primary school. That was like number one student in the entire school, down to secondary school, senior prefect again, down to university. So there has always been this aspect of me that I knew I'm not meant for small things. There's this leadership quality that has always been there. So, but getting into the university 2018, 2019, it was now how do I translate every single thing I've gathered over the years, every single skill, every single leadership position, or what have I learned all through these years, and how can I put it into the system on a larger scale? So that was where mentorship came in. So my older brother was like a mentor to me. In fact, he's still a mentor till now. I always update him in whatever I'm doing because he is that person that showed me that you can do big things no matter your background or no matter what it is that is going on around you. So, like I said, he studied computer science. That inspired me, and I started learning how to code from as early as 2018. Started learning how to code. I was just getting to the university. So I already knew it was going to be computer engineering or computer science, but I decided to go computer engineering for personal reasons. And eventually I got into school, started learning how to code. I wasn't really, at that time, I wasn't concerned about money or getting a job. I was just concerned about building value, learning and learning and learning. while I was learning how to code, I was also still a business person because before then I had a flair for design. I had a flair for graphics design. So I learned graphic design professionally while I was also learning how to code. And graphic design at that time was giving me money while I was in school. And at the same time, some days while I'm taking jobs in graphic design, I also learn how to code later at night. So I did that for like 2, 3 years. And then in my third year, I decided to transition fully into cloud engineering based on my how my career path was going at the time. Of course, in computer engineering, we did a course called software engineering, which led me to um, find out exactly what aspect I would like to focus on in terms of software, which was cloud. So did cloud engineering, then down to final year in university. Like I said, it's a whole lot. If I want to share my story, the time will not be enough. But basically, I got into tech fully. I would say fully in my 300 level, which was when I started delving into cloud, and 400 level, 500 level, because my course was 5 years. So I just graduated last year. Like I said, I'm still very young. Graduated last year, and immediately after graduation, it was just a few months after Outreach internship came. I applied. Fortunately for me, I got in, and from there, the journey has been something else, right? Till now. So I feel the other part, I will share the other part when other questions come in. So yeah, that's been my career path so far.
That's actually very interesting. Thank you. I wanted to say, aside the fact that you came from a family that is a FICO, so that's like a Nigerian Yoruba way of saying people that are scholars. You also mentioned that being Igbo, you're actually business oriented. I have a question for you regarding that, but let's go on.
Okay.
But I also want to put it out there for anybody that is watching this video that regardless of what your background is, even if your background is not like Richard's own, maybe
Yeah.
I should also share my own. Whatever your background is, trust me, you can do amazingly well. I
Yeah.
I I come from a background where I have to do most of the things myself. I have to train myself in school, right
Yeah.
from school. I don't know if you understand. I have to like do lots of other things throughout. Even when I was in school, I was doing like other multiple jobs. But regardless, Richard said something when he started. He said, even right from my school days, I knew I can dream big. I knew I was meant to do this thing. That is the mindset, and that is the mindset that is going to help you to achieve anything you want to achieve. So my next question that I'm going to ask you,
Okay.
you have this mindset. You have been opportune to be on different leadership position, but
Okay.
when or where was that turning point when you realized that even when I have this mindset,
Yeah.
even when I am part of this leadership stage or
Yeah.
space, I need to share my work publicly in order for me to create real opportunities. When did you like figure that out?
Okay. So I had a Facebook account. If you check my Facebook page, with the date I created my Facebook account, I think that was actually between 2014 2015, as far back as that. But there was nothing happening on that page. Like it was pretty just there till later. In fact, when I'm not even very active on Facebook. But the thing is that I had social media accounts. So social media was not something that I wasn't so familiar with. Right. I think then in secondary school, I got my first phone. When did I get my first phone? I think in SS2, getting to SS3 almost. That's when I had my first phone because I didn't come from a family that could afford those amenities at an early stage. So I know some persons actually got their first phone in the university. So mine was very close to the university days for getting my first Android device. So then that was the first time I opened a social media account and all. So I had social media accounts, but there's a difference between having access to a tool and actually utilizing that tool to do something with it. So I would say the turning point for me precisely precisely was 2020. So I got into school 2019. So 2020 was like the turning point for me where I said, okay, hey, I know the social media. I've been using social media for my 100 level. I think 2020 I was already like in 200 level. So I was actually on social media, normal WhatsApp, chatting with friends. I learn a lot. So learning on social media was not a problem for me. But in terms of putting myself out there, nah, there was really nothing. Just basically on WhatsApp. So I was posting my designs, small graphic designs I was doing, getting one or two, 2K, 3K jobs, not in dollars or 3,000 naira. 2K, 3K jobs here and there. And so 2020 to be precise, I took a course. It was a paid course. How much was the course? 2,000 naira. The course was about LinkedIn optimization. So somebody was just talking about LinkedIn and how that LinkedIn is this, LinkedIn is that. Prior to that time, I've heard about LinkedIn, but I just knew LinkedIn as this place where, big guys, CEOs, founders of multinationals, that's where they hang out. So that was the mindset I had. Not until I went through that class. Like I said, it was just a 2,000 naira class, but it was a 2 days class. I don't know, for some reason I took that class seriously, even though I didn't pay so. But 2,000 naira was a big money for me at that time because I knew what it took me to bring out that money to pay for the class. So after I took the class, I could remember making my first post. The story is interesting because you will be shocked when I tell you what I want to tell you now. So I could remember, the coach, like every other coach, would give us advice, give us strategies, shared about LinkedIn, shared her story. It was a lady actually, shared her story, and then Omotala, can you hear me? Confirm you can hear me, please. Okay, all right. So on the second day of the class, I decided I finished the session, and the third day she gave us an assignment to make a post on LinkedIn and just post about something. And then I knew, okay, I've already been learning graphic design and branding extension to some extent. I said, okay, let me just post this particular content. What was the content? I still remember till date the title of the content. It was a carousel post, and the topic was 5 signs you have a strong personal brand. Here is somebody that I have never built a personal brand. I was just at the process of starting. But based on the learning and everything courses I've been taking, and doing designs for people, I had that understanding, but I was not applying it to my own personal life. So I just let him just create a content like that based on what I've learned and all that. And I made that post. Like I said, I used my graphic design skills to design a carousel post. So you could slide and go through number one, number two, number three, down to the fifth sign. And guess what? In 24 hours, then I was less than 1,000 followers on LinkedIn. I didn't even know how the whole followers thing works. I was still learning. I just finished the course. So in 24 hours, or less than 24 hours, over 300,000 people viewed that single post. Like the post just picked up for some reason. Till date, I don't know exactly what made the post pick up. I saw people commenting, people that I've never met in my life, both people in different countries all over the world, commenting that they got value from the post. And in my head, I'm like, who am I to be giving value to this set of individuals? So they made the comment, and I remember running back to my coach. Coach, see you. This your class is working. That kind of thing. I made a screenshot of the post, sent it to her on WhatsApp. When it was like 15 hours after, the post was already about 100 and something thousand persons. I'm like, what's happening? She was like, that's the effects of LinkedIn. And I should just keep engaging with people on the comment section and all that. I kept on doing that. And in 24 hours, thing climbed to 300 and something thousand. Over 1,000 persons were already liking the post. People were sharing. And my followers kept on increasing. So that was like a viral post that I didn't expect. I wasn't posting it to go viral. I just posted to share value and to practice what I learned from the class that I just attended. So from there, I feel that's where the starting point. That's like the starting point of the whole thing. LinkedIn was my it became my home. It became the place where I started building from there. And I think till today I'm not so much active on other social media platforms. I don't just know why. Like I have a good following on Facebook and Instagram, but I don't post as often as I post on LinkedIn because I feel the people I'm after, the people I want to build a community with, they are just on LinkedIn. Instagram is not for me. Maybe with time I would diverse into all these other social media platforms. But for now, like, it's just been amazing. The growth has been steady. It has been progressive from then till now. And that post actually gave me my first landed in my first remote job with a company in the UK. I was a graphic designer in the UK for like 2 years. I worked there for like 2 years remotely. In fact, that opportunity, it's catered for so many of my needs in school, because I was working and flexing at the same time while I was in school. And that's then I was balling. I was working remotely and also in university. So yeah, that was the turning point for me actually. 2020 was the point where I knew, okay, I had to start building a brand and putting myself out there on social media.
Wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing. I had to like pick a pen because you were sharing some things which I want to like reference back to, and I didn't
Okay.
want to miss anything. Among everything you said, I heard you say, or let me rephrase it. You said something like, if you don't do it, you won't know if it will work, if it will
Yeah.
spark up, or if it will create an opportunity. If you had not posted that, and that is one thing I tell people. I tell people that our everyday life, like
Mm,
when you wake up till when you sleep, there is content. There is
true.
content that if you share, someone out there will benefit from it. Someone
Yeah.
out there will knock their heads.
Yeah.
I also used to tell people because most people struggle. Okay, don't let's talk about struggle. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, maybe because most people struggle to say, oh, just like you mentioned this, that oh, who am I to inspire these people? Most people will say,
Yeah.
what do I have to share that people don't know before? You just do your
Yeah.
thing. Yes, you just do your thing. My teammates knows that Omotola will tell you that post that thing. Okay, we didn't get comments. Don't worry. Do you know somebody out there actually saw that comment, actually saw that
Yeah.
content, and it's very impactful. And I will tell them something like, um, for you today, do you know how many video contents you've come across to? Do you know how many articles you've read? How many did you like or drop a comment on? So that's the
True.
same thing. That doesn't mean you didn't make a value out of it. So just like what Richard mentioned, do it anyways. Just do
Yeah.
it, and it's going to make sense. And he also mentioned that he landed his first, he landed a job, maybe not first job, but he landed a job through that opportunity. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk about struggle. Did
Okay.
you face like any challenge, maybe after graduation or like after the period where you started showing up like
Yeah.
regularly? Or let's pick imposter syndrome. Do you feel like at some point you feel like, oh, why am I doing this? I'm not good enough
Yeah.
to do this. Tell us more about
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I would say there is nobody that is making progress in life that will not face challenges. In fact, for me, challenges is a proof that I'm actually making progress. if
it.
if I
Absolutely.
stay a period of time and I'm not really facing, I'll question myself, like, why am I not really facing a challenge? Because if everything is moving smoothly, then it's a sign that something will happen and it will just go down. Because I need to be facing challenges, make me more resilient. Challenges make me come out better. And over the years, definitely I've faced a lot of challenges. There are days that I'll wake up, even till today, it still happens. When I wake up and say, why am I actually doing this thing? If I don't share, there's nothing that will really happen. Like, in fact, precisely when I finished outreach internship, I was like, this money now, if I used to do better business, at least some money will come in and there will not be any need to me doing all these online things that I'm doing. But another point, I thought about it as something else told me. So you think that that this money you just made now is really is good money? You've not seen anything yet. So I've faced a lot of challenges. Yeah, starting from when I started building on the online space. There were days that even after that viral post, I can tell you there were days I will make a post, I will not get up to 20 likes, I'll not get up to 10 likes. It still happened, but I had a viral post, right? So it taught me that success is not a one-time thing. It's not something that just happens one time and you feel like you've been made for life. No, it's progressive, it's continuous, and there are so many. You will face challenges, but one thing that keeps me going is the vision. Is a vision I have for myself. For instance, I every single year I do a evaluation about myself. I have exactly where I want to be in the next 5 years, exactly where I want to be in the next 3 years, and exactly where I want to be in the next 2 years. That's how I broke it down, 5, 3, 2. So And every year I keep evaluating myself. At every quarter, I evaluate myself. How closer am I to this goal? And the things I'm doing now, in fact, everything I'm doing now is leading somewhere. So I'm not just guessing or trying to just wake up in the morning and post anything because I want to post. No, I'm now more intentional about the kind of things I'm putting out there because I know this is preparing me for something. Let me share a brief story. In my 400 level, to be precise, because in Nigeria, if you're watching from Nigeria, this will be familiar with you. In Nigeria, in my 400 level, the penultimate year before I graduate is the year where you usually go for internship, school internships and all that. So at that time, of course, I've already started building on LinkedIn. So I knew the power of LinkedIn and the power of connections. So at that time, I wanted to utilize my internship period. That's 4, 5, 6 months where you go out of school and you intern with the company. I told myself that I'm going to utilize that period of time because I knew how important it was. While some other persons were just taking anything that came their way, while some persons they were even ghosting their internship, to flex at home and all that. I told myself that, hey, this is a time you can't really tell what opportunity this will bring for me in the future. So what I did at that time was I went on LinkedIn. Very crazy story. I had friends that kept on telling me, why are you putting so much energy in this thing? Funny enough, those friends now, they are paying me to optimize their LinkedIn pages for them. They are paying me to build their CVs for them. So back to the story. So I had friends that told me, why are you pushing yourself so much? So at that time, while other persons were looking for any jobs, any internships, I was shooting my shot at top organizations. In fact, I shot my shot at Microsoft. I didn't care. I wanted to work with a company that I could boast of. And when I'm done with school, I'll say, okay, this is something that is on my CV. So I kept on sending cold emails to recruiters. I kept on sending several applications. I think I made over 50 applications. It was just about 2 weeks to the internship when my internship was about to begin. I had several rejections now. I'll wake up every morning, I'll see email. We are sorry to announce. Or how does it usually start again? Unfortunately, we had so many applications and we cannot. So if you are familiar with applications, you will know that that's how the story usually goes. So I had those emails. Many of them, I got so used to rejection that anytime I say rejection mail, I would just close it, move over to the next application. So it wasn't affecting me again because I knew all I needed was just one yes. And it happened that 2 weeks to the internship, I had 5 offers on my table that I had to now sit down and select through all of them. But that would have not been possible if all those rejections had not come. And if I had stopped maybe after the first or second or the third rejection, I would have not been able to get some of those offers. So here I was, someone who was just in 400 level. I was in university. I was crafting an email to reject an offer because I learned that you don't just keep quiet to for future reasons. So I had to sit down and draft an email to reject some of the offers. Just look for one English and tell them it's not as if that your company is not valuable enough and stuff, so like that. But I have to move on. You understand? So yeah, challenges are real. Challenges are part of life. Challenges push me. I love challenges. Challenges push me to become better. Yeah. So that's it basically.
See, I really enjoyed this our conversation, and I love the fact that you were not just answering the questions, but you were sharing real life scenarios. And I'm also
Yeah.
going to share mine. Trust me, when I started my career, there was nothing like community. There was nothing like mentorship. Maybe it was there, but the awareness wasn't this strong. Now we have a free program, like an initiative like what
Mm,
Elegance Media is doing, visibility, and a lot of other initiatives now. Then there was nothing. You have to figure
mm,
it out yourself. And even as at then, if you had asked me that what's my superpower, I would say talking. And that's why most times I would say something like, oh, I I would say something like, sorry. So most
mm,
times I'm going to say something like I talk too much because I feel like I'm doing something. I need to tell you about it. So if you care to
yeah.
listen, I'm going to tell you about it. And that's even before I become like very active on LinkedIn. And but what I'm
Mm,
trying to say is along the way challenges will come. It might be you have to pay bills, if your job is not
yeah.
enough, or you apply for an opportunity and you feel like, or sometimes you even feel like, oh, I deserve more, and this is where I am. Things
Yeah.
will happen that way, challenges will happen. And even now, I was telling my ear which day that I just don't feel like this is not me. This is not
Mm,
the active me. But one thing, the elegance visibility sprint as well. When the day we were about to start, the day we were supposed to start, something happened that on a norm I would have said, "Oh, let's cancel this initiative." But instead, I'm like, "This thing, we are going to do it." So from what you
yes.
said, I noted that you mentioned that just do it for you, regardless anything you want to lay your hands on. Have a vision, have a
Yeah.
goal, so that when these challenges comes, your vision, your goal will help you to keep going.
Yeah.
Even when you are not inspired to show up,
Mm,
that vision will help you to just keep showing. And you
yeah.
mentioned that success is not a one-time thing. It is
Yeah.
something that will come recurrently. And if success is coming, trust me, especially if you want your success to be something that everybody will look at and be like, oh, this is good,
Yeah.
then it will come with its own challenges as well. So, but just keep doing you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think the next question I want to ask you is, you mentioned that LinkedIn is your most active platform. Yes, you have other platforms, but let's talk about networking. How do
Okay.
you build, how did you build your network? Especially, how did you get people to continuously start seeing you, start engaging with you?
Okay. So the thing about networking, I always love to talk about networking because you cannot meet me and you not like me. It's not possible. Like you cannot. How did I meet Omotola? In fact, I'm sure there were other persons who had a one-on-one session with you, but something clicked when I met you, when we had that conversation. I'm sure. So the point is, thing about networking is, I feel a lot of people see networking as you chasing after somebody that is valuable and trying to get into their space, but it's a symbiotic relationship. Networking should be, you have something I want, I have something you want. That is the way I see networking. So whoever it is I want to connect with, even if it's Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Bill Gates has something. Bill Gates, in fact, what am I saying? I have something Bill Gates wants. That's the way I think about it.
Mhm.
No matter how big or how famous the person actually is. Okay, let me share a brief story. I don't know if you know Oche Wright on LinkedIn. It's
I'm
a
not sure.
content marketer, a very big content marketer. So he was one of the persons I initially connected with on my early days on LinkedIn. I just love the way he explains content marketing and in a very creative way. And he's one of those persons that he's not chasing after followers. He kept saying it over and over again. But his followers kept on increasing. I'm like, what's this guy doing? Not just followers,
Mhm.
he was getting jobs and all that, getting opportunities. So for someone like that, I got him on because I later held, at that time, it was the time I held a LinkedIn growth webinar where I had three major speakers. How did I get in contact with him? This is the same person that he has thousands of DMs every single day, but he responded to my message. How did I do it? I told you at that time I had already learned how to do graphic design and all that. So I thought about, hey, I went through his page for like a few seconds and I found out that he didn't have a cover page on his LinkedIn. He didn't have a banner, LinkedIn banner. What did I do? I took the initiative, designed one for him, sent it to him in his DM. Guess what? He responded. And from there, I
Ooh.
got him on my space. In fact, later, few weeks after, I started calling me his younger brother. I don't know why. So the point is networking, and the way I see networking is, don't always be after what you gain from that person. Figure out a way you can contribute value, even if it's not in a very huge way. Let me tell you something. What I've noticed about people who are up there, who are high up there. Of course, there's networking with your peers, there's networking with the
Mhm.
people who are below, but most of the time it's always between people who are, higher up.
Mhm.
One thing I've noticed about those individuals is that what excites them is usually the little detail, usually the things that you feel like it does not matter. Those are the things that excite them. I've been to events where, while every other person is going after a particular influencer, they want to take pictures with them and all that. What do? While the person is speaking during a session, I take the initiative to ask a
No.
question. And while I'm asking that question, I give a background of how I've been following them, what I've learned
Mm.
from them, and
Mm.
how that has helped me grow before I ask my question. Now,
Mhm.
that little detail it shows them that this person actually cares more about the value I'm sharing than just taking pictures with me, selfies. I took picture with people, I took pictures with this person and all that. That is not the real idea of networking. What is that one thing that will stick with them after you've left that event, after you've maybe you just met them for just the first time? What is that one thing that will stick with them? That is what I go after. So that is how my approach to networking. It's more like, how can I provide value while at the same time? And there are sometimes that I'm not even talking with you because of what I stand to gain. I just want to get to know you because you are somebody that I would like to have in my space. And then in the future, something happens that, of course, I will not benefit from you in the future. So that's the way I see networking, and the way actually it actually should be. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I spoke with a like one of the participants, one of the most active participants of the Elegance Accessibility Experience yesterday during like a one-on-one session. I love to have one-on-one session with people who are active, who are very
Yeah.
intentional, because I see it as they are not going to waste my time. They know what they want. And I was
Mm.
sharing I shared insights with him yesterday. I said so one of the tasks we gave them is to map out people they want to connect with. And I told
Yeah.
them to dream big. So they have to dream big. So you are not supposed to map out your friend. Map out
Yeah.
people from your dream organization. So they map
Yeah.
out individuals and they map out organization. I do this every quarter. So I just told them,
Yeah.
okay, do this thing. And this person went ahead. You need to see the list that this person had. And I think that was one of the things that I'm like, okay, for you to have this kind of dream, for you to be this
Yeah.
bold, let's jump on a one-on-one conversation and
Mm.
let me share insights into how you can actually network with those persons. And we jump
Mm.
on the call. And one of the things I shared with the person is you are going to send an email to this person because he was scared that how am I going to connect with this person? I don't
Mm.
think it's possible. And I said, you are going to connect with them. You are not connecting with them for job. You are not going to ask them, please,
Yes.
I need a job. You are not going to connect to them that I need this thing. You are just going to give them their flowers. That is
Yeah.
the first, like, that is the foundation. Let those people know that it is not about you. Now it is about
Mm.
them because you
Mm.
are building a foundation. Yeah. And
Mm.
that is one of it. I agree. I totally agree with what you said. It's,
Mm.
you need to be very intentional. And that is like people do it wrongly.
Yeah.
People send DMs to people that you know that they are very busy, and the first thing you say is, "I am a graphic designer. I would love to work with you. Please share opportunity with me." And I'm like,
I will slap
okay,
you.
a lot of people want opportunities. Trust me, those kind of messages are really turned off. Everybody
Yes.
cannot be like a Matala who attends to almost all the messages she gets. But those kind of opportunity, if you're watching this video and you're the type that send this kind of message, please change your ways. Change your ways. Three things. I think three. Uh, I'll do a short video of that and share on our channel so that we'll not waste time. Like there's a way you can construct your message. If you're
Yeah.
using email, your email should not be more than three paragraphs. And the last paragraph, last line should just be your action points. Don't share too
Yeah.
much about you. Don't share too much about you. And if you are using maybe LinkedIn, you should be very straight and direct. Don't waste my time. Give them what they want to see back to back. I hope people learn, and I hope I think I'm
Yeah.
going to do a
Don't
bit of
don't
that.
come and
Do a
ask
bit
how
of
are you
that.
doing? How was your night on LinkedIn? Nobody cares about that.
No,
Nobody
no,
nobody cares.
no. Okay. We are talking about. I think we've started dishing out some advice. So let me ask you, what advice will you give to someone that is just starting out? So
Okay.
I'm talking about not someone starting out their career now, someone who has
Yeah.
been maybe even starting their career, but someone who has already been making this impact indoor, but wants to start sharing online. And they are feeling, oh, I don't have anything to share. With
Yeah.
this thing that I have, is it good enough? What advice would you give such person?
Okay. Yeah. So here's what I would say about sharing. Let's say you already have the skills, you already have value, and you just feel like you don't have. Okay, you just said somebody that doesn't have, feels like you don't have anything worthwhile to share.
Mhm.
So I have a couple of my classmates who were classmates in school and who just started their journey building online now. Right, they weren't so opportune to start early like the way I did. So a lot of times I actually give them some tips here and there. And one of the things I tell them, especially there was one that sent me a message the other day and was like, he feels like there is really nothing he wants to say. He has not really achieved anything yet and all that. I told him, hey guy, you are a graduate of computer engineering, for crying out loud. You finished from one of the prestigious universities in Nigeria. You went to lectures, how many lectures in school for how many years? There's no way you tell me you don't have anything worthwhile to share. Like, I know, of course, you should know Emmanuel Ndukana, who is like one of the most followed young person in Nigeria on LinkedIn. Till today, Emmanuel does not have like a 9 to 5 job or like a solid business that he's building. But how did he start? He started like me while I was in school. He was an engineering student. He started by sharing his goals. He might just wake up one morning that post like, oh, I see myself doing this. Oh, I admire Tony Elumelu so much and all that. Basically sharing things that for some persons they might feel like, and I'm sure definitely he had a lot of people bashing him and saying he was clout chasing. But he was not sharing those things per se to chase after somebody. I've had conversations with him where he was just somebody that he admired. He had a mentor he admired. He had somebody he was looking up to. He had somebody that he has learned a lot of things from, and he was sharing some of those things he had learned and how it's helping him throughout school. And today he's where he is. So the thing is that there's always something to share. There's always something in quote worthwhile to share. There is no, if in fact, if you are a student listening to me here, there's no way you will go to lectures every single day. Especially if you are in Nigeria, pass through the stressful educational system of Nigeria, pass through your lecturers, and you will tell me you don't have what to share. It's not possible.
Yeah.
There's a way you can link your, maybe you want to be, you are in school and you're looking towards, maybe like me, I study computer engineering. You will definitely graduate sometime. Talk about the courses you are learning. Talk about if you are taking courses on software engineering, taking courses on hardware. Talk about those things.
About it.
There is a huge difference between being an expert, like building professionally, like taking jobs or asking people to pay you for a service and creating content around that, and building in public. They're two different things. A lot of people confuse. They think that building in public has to be that you are a professional and you must have skills that you are selling to people. Building in public sometimes could just be sharing your growth process, sharing what you are learning online. And why that is important is that a lot of people want to really understand the person behind the skill, the person behind the camera. Most people are interested in your thought process. I've had recruiters who reached out to me and they were like, they don't need to ask me so much about my professional, in terms of my skill set, because from what they've been seeing already, I have the skills they are looking for. So sometimes what could make you stand out would be your soft skills, your communication skills, your leadership qualities. Or you went for an event where you were opportune to, even if it's to volunteer, and maybe the only thing you did in that event was to sit down on the table and press computer and register students. I can tell you there's a way you craft that story. There's a way you craft that story, and someone will see it and like, oh, I need this person to be my event next year. I need to pay this person to be my event next year. But what did you do? You were laptop just registering students. So it just depends on how you share your story, how you craft your process, how you build in public. Everything can be an opportunity. It all depends on how you craft the message. So yeah, that's my advice to
I,
someone there.
I totally agree with you. And I mentioned earlier that from when we wake up to when we go back to bed, we
Yeah.
have content happening around us.
Yes.
Sometime last year, I think this year I reduced it a bit. Sometime last year, especially when I was doing my Stanford program, anytime I
Mm.
pick up my notes and I learn something, listen to the lecturers, just some things down, that just spark like I'm like, oh, this is content, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm learning. I don't know it, that's why I'm learning it, or I want to like expand my about it, and because of that, I go back to LinkedIn and share it in my own way. I
Yeah.
craft it in a way that okay, this is what the lecturer has said. This is what resonates with me about what he or she has said, and I
Mhm.
put it out. Sometimes when I'm talking to my friends, I'll just tell them, "Thank you for giving me this content. People need to hear this," and I will go back there
Yeah.
and share. And that is what I tell people. You making input in that meeting, you, contributing to a brainstorm, anything, everything you do. It might be you taking water. Water is very good for your body. Some people they have a very big gallon like this that they say, oh, I have to
Mhm.
finish this water in a day. It might just be you sharing, oh, today I was able to accomplish my mission of eating, of drinking 1 liter of water. This water
Yeah,
has, helped someone. Just to tell you, I'm just going back to that like water, just to tell you that there's content in everything.
sure.
And Richard mentioned that you crafting it very well, not because we have said, oh, everything is content, now you're
Yeah,
dumping it. You have to be very intentional about it.
yeah,
Why do you want to share it? What's the background? Then what are you sharing? Then how can people make use of it? I have different personality on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Sometimes my Instagram is just I share my content on Instagram based on what I'm feeling, what I'm
mm,
thinking, or what is happening. It's different from what is on my LinkedIn entirely.
yeah,
And sometimes if you think, oh, Omotola is going to post about this event she just talked at on Instagram, I might not post it. I might just post a picture and just put something about this Bible verse that I just read today. So
mm,
another thing I'm also going to mention is by sharing, you mentioned like you can go to a conference, share what you're working on.
mm,
You sharing it, people can say, oh, this person went to this conference. Oh, this
yeah,
person has been sharing this thing before. That means the connection is there. So that means there'll be a good like participant or even a speaker at the next conference.
yeah,
Even when you are about to apply for a scholarship, which I'm going to enter the scholarship as soon, when you're about to apply for a scholarship, sometimes they ask you to like state a reason why you should get this scholarship. And
uh-huh,
you reference back to all those simple things that you think you have been posting before and you
yeah,
share them. Share your content. Share your content. Okay, let me talk about the Elegance community. So the Elegance community is actually a safe space that keeps you accountable. It inspires you to be visible and inspires you to constantly grow. So we are just more than the team there, the members there are more than connection.
yeah,
We help you to transform. We help you to, this is where you can connect with other creatives, person, entrepreneurs, where you can learn alongside with them, grow, build, and most importantly, discover your spark. I'm going to add a link to our community to the description of this video. Please join so that you can be part of this space. Talking about community, so Richard, tell me, as community or yes, as community played like any aspects of your growth? Has it been a factor for your growth?
yeah, yeah. This, in fact, community. You know, there are different types of community. There is
Mm-hmm.
community that has to do with a group chat, a WhatsApp group or Telegram group
Mm-hmm.
and all that.
Mm-hmm.
While there is community that has to do with your network, the people that are following you, the people that are following your journey can be your own community. So you don't necessarily have to be a founder of a company or a founder of a community to have a community. In fact, there are people that you have friends that look up to you, no matter how small it is. Those are
Mm-hmm.
actually your community if you look at it in a way. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
community has greatly been a part of my entire journey. When I first started learning cloud, yeah, communities was in fact was the whole deal for me because I had to belong to a community of people who are experts in the industry. You know, when I'm trying to learn a new skill and all that, that's the first thing I do. Whatever it is I want to learn, I look for people who have been there, done
Are
that,
doing it.
so that I don't waste my time because you can literally it can save you a lot of time and
Yeah.
save you some certain mistakes, right? When you are learning from people who have already been there and done that. So community has always been a very big part of my journey, even till now, right? My agency that I'm currently running, I have a community. Like this one, I have a WhatsApp community for the agency, which we do not just provide services like CV, LinkedIn optimization, and all that for that, but we also have that community to keep track of the growth of people, where we also share even free opportunities here and there. I come across opportunities every single day. So sometimes I just feel like people need to see this. A lot of young people need to see this. I've had
Mm-hmm.
people who are like, okay, like I don't know if we talk about the TF, Tony Elumelu Foundation opportunity. I've had persons who came across that opportunity and they were like, it's not for me. In fact, when I shared that I got selected, one of my classmates was like, he saw the same opportunity, but he did not apply because he thought he was
Hmm.
not good enough. And I'm like, for crying out loud, this is why
Why?
this is why Versetti exists actually, because there are people who have this mindset that because I'm a young person, because I'm this, certain things are not just for me. Like it's not just time yet. While
Hmm.
you might be surprised you that people who actually get those opportunities, you can be a lot of times you are better than them, you are more qualified than them, but you just have this limiting mindset, this belief that this thing is not just for me. So yeah, community has always been a very large part of my growth, and I we definitely continue to be a part of my growth and progress.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So if you're listening to him, this is your sign to join the community. Don't just join. This is the time to be active, actively
Yeah.
engage with intentionality so that you can make the best. Because a lot of persons will join community. Someone just posted something in the community I belong to today that, oh, I don't come here often. I've missed a lot of things. And I'm like, it is well. So, and one person out there in that community is gaining a lot of things, but you don't. So, I think that is the sign that you need to
Yeah.
change your ways. So, let's talk about the Tony Elumelu mentorship program. Tell us more about it. In this time around, I need to tell us about it and tell us how it's connected to your visibility efforts. What's the connection? How did they help each other?
All right. So being connected to my visibility effort. Okay, first of all, let me just say when I made the announcement. Oh no, let me start from when I applied before I get to making the announcement. But I'm trying to connect it to visibility. That's why the announcement will be very important. But so after outreachy, funny enough, outreachy ended in March, and that same towards the ending of March was when I applied to Tony Elumelu. The funny thing is that I didn't put so much. You know, when somebody is, you are telling yourself you want to get this thing. That was not the case for me. I already had the idea because the way Tony Elumelu entrepreneurship program works is that you can apply either as a startup in idea phase or an MVP phase or an already established business. So there are different stages you can actually apply as. So it was an idea. I had an idea of a B2B startup, software as a service that I've drafted everything on a Google Doc. I already had the plan on ground. So I just said, hey, this idea is something that I've not started building, but this opportunity is there. Let me just apply. That was how it was. And I put in the application. I could remember other applications. I would spend days, months. That was how I knew, okay, I was actually growing. It gave me a sign. It told me that it made me know that I was growing. There are some other applications that I will spend months worrying and thinking, contemplating. But this time around, in less than an hour, I submitted my application. In fact, I didn't even read stories of people who have gotten it before and other like I would do normally before. That's to tell you that I wasn't so much, I just said, let me just try. And if I get in, fine. If I don't get in, I'll try again next year. Only for me to find out that there are people who had applied for the same opportunity 4 or 5 times, because trust me, it's a big opportunity. Apart from the funding of $5,000 is a whole lot of money. But apart from the funding itself, the opportunities, the exposure, the learning, and everything is actually a big opportunity. So, and going through the statistics, over 200,000 persons applied from all over Africa, and they selected just 3,000 persons, and I was privileged to be among 3,000 persons. So imagine that
Wow.
I just told myself that, hey, let me just forget about this thing. It's possible that next year I'll try, I will not get it. It's very, very possible.
Mhm.
And I haven't found out that my immediate elder brother, which is my mentor, I see as my mentor, he told me he has applied for the same opportunity 4 times and he gave up. That is to tell you
Oh
that,
my God.
telling you. So there are people, certain opportunities will come your way and you never know if it will work or not. Like I tell people,
Mm.
there's no harm in trying. Come on, I didn't pay any money
Yes.
to apply, so why would I be telling myself I'm not good enough? It's not taking money from me. The only thing it took for me is time, and it was like an hour or so of my time. And I sent him my application, and then down to visibility. I made that post on LinkedIn. It was very strategic because I knew I needed a certain kind of presence in my space for what I'm building. And then the way I created the post was in such a way that it will attract those persons. We don't have enough time for me to share those strategies and all that. So, but the point is that I made that post. If you go back, the post is still on my featured section for certain reasons. The post is there. It has gotten more than 1,000 reactions already and impressions. And the kind of people that started following me, kind of people that connected with me, I saw VCs. I saw VCs view my profile. I saw VCs sending me connection requests. I saw prospective investors. I saw people, in fact, somebody already volunteered to work with me as a full stack developer for free till the company starts earning money. And I'm like, where is all this coming from? But I knew I predicted it because of the way I crafted the post actually. So the
Yes.
point is that it has actually helped, definitely helped my visibility, and it was intentional. I didn't just make the post because I want to announce that. No, all those I'm excited to announce. Nah, that's not
Mhm.
why I posted. I knew exactly why I made
Yeah.
that post, and the results slowly have started coming in. And I will
Yes.
definitely share my journey when I eventually complete the product, the MVP stage. I'll definitely still share because definitely one person does not build a startup. If there's anything I've learned in life,
Yes.
person does not build a
Yes.
startup. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
that's really awesome. I'm proud of you, and I totally support. And I think I've done some of those things too. Some like one or two times. I used to tell people that if you want to post anything, like you just got this opportunity and you want to post strategically. You are
Yeah.
learning this thing, you're learning it now, post it strategically. Sometimes even with my Stanford program, you see me after posting and I'll tell you I'm now ready, more empowered to connect to
Mm,
the next big thing. Even when you feel like, oh, you don't need it yet, or when you are not even sure of what opportunity might come through that, just
yeah.
keep being intentional. I think intentionality is one word that everybody needs to not only know the word but knows how to use it. Thank you so much for that. I'm trying to wrap up pretty quick, but if there is one thing that you have learned about being seen, that you think other people that are coming, young professionals
Yeah.
like you, they need to know, what would it be? And I need you to share like something like a visibility habit that you want to encourage people to commit to with them.
Okay. So the first part of the question, one
Was
advice I would give
Yeah,
to, yeah,
yes.
is that keep showing up. See, initially you might not start seeing the results. Trust me, there are people who spend 3, 4, 5 years and it seems like it's not working. But the thing is
Yes.
that as long as you are not stagnant, as long as you keep improving, you are asking questions, you are learning, you are joining sessions like this. Trust me, it won't take time. It won't take time. But there's a difference between, when you are not making progress and you are not making efforts to make progress. You just know that that's your fault entirely. But as long as you're putting in the work, as long as you are growing, you keep learning, you are growing. On my YouTube channel, there's something I usually like saying, keep learning, keep growing, and stay rich. You can see rich on my shirts. I did not just buy the shirts from somewhere, I printed it myself because it's a mantra I go by every single day.
Mm,
So keep learning, keep growing. Like they've said this a lot. Your learning power is equals to your earning power, but a lot of people think it's a cliche. It's not actually, because there's a time will come where certain knowledge, people will pay for those knowledge. Well, these were the same things you were sharing before, that a lot of people were just taking it casually. The same thing that
mhm,
people will pay for in the future. So keep learning, keep growing. Then to get to the second question about one visibility strategy I would share is,
mm.
see, comment section. Things happen in the comment section. Like a lot of people don't
That is
really.
the real tea
Things
that
happen
people
in the
don't
comment
know.
section. Some people just make a post and they disappear. You don't engage with the people that are commenting. In fact, somebody who commented on your post today could buy from you tomorrow. Someone who commented on your post today could be your next boss tomorrow. You never can tell. Then one thing I also love about LinkedIn. LinkedIn gives you the opportunity for you to see people that are viewing your profile. For crying out loud, that is something that you can utilize to your benefit. Nobody just sits down and wants to just scroll on your profile for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There are persons that viewed my profile that I strategically went to their DM and connected with them. And they were like, hey, I was just checking you out. And Ba. They paid for my service. I've had people who they don't comment, they just view your profile and send you a DM. And
Hmm.
it happens on different social media platforms. Though I've said to one thing, comment section. Then another thing is the DMs. A lot of things go down in the DMs that people don't know. There are people that they will never comment. They will not like your post. But the DM is where the main thing is happening. So you have to really learn how to communicate with people in the DM, especially people you've never met before. It's a skill. Learn it. Learn how to be that person that when someone sends you a message, you can keep the conversation going. You can keep the flow going to a point where they see you as somebody that they are valuable enough. You are valuable enough to work with. Because some persons don't just come straight and tell you, I want to work with you. Sometimes they send
Yes.
you a message, and in the course of the conversation, they want to really figure out if you are good in your communication skills, you are the person they are looking for. And from that conversation, they can now pick it up from there and give you the next big opportunity. So yeah, that is some hacks I would share.
Thank you so much, Richard, for you've shared a lot of insights. Not just for persons that have joined us today, but persons that one way or the other are going to come across this video. Even
Yeah,
I myself, I'm going to come back to this video and watch it again because one way or the other, I just have to pick something that I'm going to
yeah.
use for my own personal self. Thank you so much for sharing this. Thank you so much for being bold. Thank you so much for taking that, for believing so much in yourself. I
Thank you.
am saying this is just the beginning, and I want to ask you. This is not part of the question you prepared to ask. So, where are we seeing? What's like the plan? Where do you see yourself in the next 2 years? Just 2 years. Just give us hints.
Okay, 2 years.
Just 2 years. Yeah, in the next 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. Well, let's say first of all, my startup. I see my startup in the next 2 years in valuation of $1 million. It's a big goal, but I know exactly how to get there, and by God's grace, it will happen. So,
Yeah.
I see myself traveling around the world. Yeah, sharing my story, impacting people because that's something I love to do, and that is the main reason why I'm building a business to have that time to impact people. Right? I don't just want to be stuck in a single environment while and I can't really explore, I can't really speak to people. Even though there is the technology has made it easy that you can, hold online meetings, but I want to travel. I like to travel. I love to have one-on-one conversations, physical meetings with people, inspire people, especially young people like me. So I'm that guy that I want to be that guy who I'm a young person. I want to show you that it is possible to do this as a young person and not just talk, but show you that I've done it also. So yeah, that's where I see myself in the next 2 years.
You know, Omotola will always root for you. So, yeah, I'm saying it again. I'm rooting for you. Keep
Maybe we'll
into
meet
the
in the
good
UK
steps.
too.
Yes, I'm looking forward to see you. So, I think a lot of persons, a lot of young persons out there needs to hear all these things that you know that you have used that you are still using, that you have come across. So even you yourself, this is me telling you that you should take that big step. Apply to conferences, apply to speak, to share
Yeah.
what you know. Because trust me, you know a lot of things. You have done a lot of things. It's not small. I start saying this for you a lot of
Yes.
people that even not smaller than you or younger than you wants to hear you speak on those things. And I wish your startup the very best. Really open one way or the other. Elegance Media and your startup will connect and work together one of these days. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, everyone. Thank you so much for those that have joined as well, those that have been watching this. Do connect with us on all our social media platforms. I'm also going to share the link to Richard's platforms. His YouTube channel is LinkedIn in the description of this video afterwards so that people can connect with him for that. Thank you so much, Richard, and
Thank
see
you
you
so
in
much.
our next session, which is going to be on Monday. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.